Let's see how this goes.
Today's it's Dangan Gym.
Oh, nice.
It's Masato Tanaka. Yeah.
Yeah. This is also his era of ECW.
Ah, good. Very good.
2000, the purple.
Hardcore ECW purple. Yeah.
This was a purchase.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We're thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Same color.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
also
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
see I brought things like
Yes, that's cool.
Super Fire Pro Wrestling, and it's advertising on that.
Let's talk about that.
It was 1994 Fumi.
Ooh. Wow. Nice. So you were a featured kind of production on that, right?
Yeah, it's because I created a story mode, it's called.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll get into that. Save that,
Yeah.
please. Save that. Very interesting. I think a lot of people are they're interested in hearing that.
But it was like not my solo project. It's when you're creating, this kind of video game, it's always team effort. So they put my name on it up front, but the story mode was a teamwork. So I didn't do the really depressing ending was the wrestler committing suicide and all that.
Yeah,
that's what you want to get into.
No, that's the
and you hear the
thing,
like a gun sound and bullet sound, and then it's like at the end it's like, did he kill himself?
Yeah, it's like a urban legend by now.
Okay, it's like 27 years ago now.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah,
and you had a big part to do with the number 4. Was it the 4th video game in the series?
Probably, yeah. You know what? To be honest
4th?
with you, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not a big game player.
Mm-hmm.
This is that they're advertising for.
There he is.
That's 1994 me. But it was a story mode that see, the game is so ancient. It's not even 3D. Flat
2D.
screen. Yeah, 2D. So the wrestling ring was like a square diamond way inside the picture, and the wrestlers were just moving.
Yeah, it had a very distinct angle that it would be fixed on when you would play. That was kind of characteristic of those.
Yeah,
games.
but still had every single wrestling moves in it though.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually Japanese language. You cannot for instance, you cannot look for like abdominal stretch. You have to look and search it like a cobra twist.
You know
what I'm saying?
You have to be familiar with the
Japanese name on it.
Yeah, you won't see belly to belly. You'll see
it's frontal suplex.
Suplex. Yeah.
But German suplex in it. Enzigiri became English word.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So, but I'm sure that those guys, everybody who played it is like very knowledgeable in wrestling to begin with, and yeah. And what I created in that was a story mode, like a ancient version of your role-playing game.
So this is 1994.
1994.
And it wasn't. I can't think of any other pro wrestling games that had this sort of feature yet. It was still sort of like a fighting game genre.
The home version of your arcade game, But so we made some progress then. Yeah.
What was the production process like? What was it like making?
They put my name on it, but I did not create the entire program on it. It's like when you create a video game like this, it's always team effort. We had dozen guys working on technical bit and what can be done, what cannot be done. The technology at the time, I guess. And the story mode was definitely like a pioneer of your like role-playing game type thing, that you sign yourself up into the game and become your own virtual wrestler, and you either go into New Japan Pro Wrestling style class school, or you either go to All Japan style wrestling school, or you go into more of a shoot fighting UWF kind of, wrestling school. You sign up and go into the story mode, and you sign yourself up into dojo and get trained and become wrestler, and you follow the story. You meet Korgach and all these things.
Pretty ahead of its time for sure.
Yeah, but the more you know about wrestling history, or I'd say Japanese wrestling history, you can create a lot more. Sign with New Japan, like Inoki type of school, and then you switch into more of a shoot style wrestling, but you still have Inoki type influence in you, and you create your own wrestling image, and you become wrestler inside. Is that interesting?
You had a lot, it gave a lot of fans so much control over all these things in
It's a fantasy
complete, living the pro wrestling life without
in
having
there.
to live
Yeah,
it completely, but it's pretty close because it's so dense with all those characteristics.
yeah. And then I realized it was mathematic at
Mhm.
the end, because how many possibility can you go on? You have to really count on I mean, you never know this person going to certain in a place, right?
Mhm.
And then this person learn All Japan style. This one, the person, go back and list, learn All Japan style. Then they might decide to fight Gracies or something, and
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? They can
Mhm.
go all kinds of different directions. So it's like you have to create the like a just like a limitless web
Yep.
story possibility in there. And so it was like really like became mathematic at the end.
Almost like trying to do the point system for G1 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like winning, like the hard opponent, but kind of losing it to easier opponent. What's gonna
Mhm.
happen?
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. So every possibility has to be in there because it's a video game.
Right.
It's like you actually go in there and you had a certain result of the game. We can't say we're not prepared for it. So every possibility had to be in there programmed. That was hard.
And you
Yeah.
should clear the air. You didn't have anything to do with the end of the infamous
Oh yeah,
ending
like you
to
said,
get
it
it out
became almost
before.
like a uh, urban legend.
Right.
This
Right.
depressed wrestler at the end of the very end of the game, you hear the gun sound, right,
Mhm.
and the bullet. Did he kill himself? I'm I wouldn't say he killed
Yeah.
himself, but to leave it to imagination. You heard the gun sound, and I certainly didn't want to make it really depressing ending. Like I said, it's not my solo project. When you do the video game, it's always team effort. So yeah, it's not like I'm not saying I created the entire story. There was a lot of things that the other guys did, and also the company that did this Fire Pro Wrestling. At the time it was huge. Human,
Mhm.
they went out of business after that. I mean, like after year 2000 something, sometime. Yeah, this original company is no longer in market. The game still exists somewhere.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and it wasn't even 3D. So, but it became legendary. So some people still talk about it to this day, huh?
Sure. Your picture's on that advertisement too, isn't it? Can we get a close
Yeah.
up of that? Yeah, there it is. All right. 1994, Fumi. There it is. Very good.
Yeah, 27 years younger than this
That's
for me.
pretty amazing how 27 years. That's
Yeah, that's like, man, I don't even play games that much.
But it was also it was an interesting time in Japanese pro wrestling history because it was a high point for sure.
Yeah, real high point, All Japan style, New Japan style. UWF already split into three groups that, you know, Mai does rings, Taka does UWFI, Fujiwara Gumi, then Fujiwara Gumi split another spin-off as Pancras. That's all shoot style. Not the same time you have FMW Onita style kind of things, and their spin-off of Wing, the IWA Japan, the Big Japan, that all came up. Yeah. So and women's wrestling, high point. All Japan women's wrestling, JWP, LLPW, you name it. Yeah. And we
All
had
that mixed with
yeah.
the is kind of high point of the gaming technology at the time too.
Oh really?
I mean,
Okay.
early 90s was when I think Famicom and Nintendo in the States was probably
Oh, right.
getting
Yeah,
its
because
most
you were
popular.
calling the game itself Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Nintendo or
Yeah,
Super
Nintendo is
Famicom.
name of the company,
Yeah,
not the
but
name
that's
of the
how it's
game.
branded. It's branded
Yeah,
differently in
but
different
every
areas.
kid in America said, "Yeah, let's play Nintendo," right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That was interesting.
Mhm.
All right, but today, what are we talking about? I wanna go into Dynamite Kid today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 years ago, 2018, December 5th, uh, one of the biggest star of the era and most influential, one of the most influential wrestler in 20th century, maybe. Dynamite Kid passed away December 5th of 2018, 3 years ago. So this is a perfect week to talk about Dynamite Kid.
Yeah. Dynamite Kid, his legacy, his
Influence.
there's also recently an episode of about him on Vice's Dark Side of the Ring. Did you catch that?
Okay, very good, very good.
Yeah.
And also yesterday at Sumo Palace, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it was a final of top of Super Junior. And Dynamite Kid's always been a milestone of junior heavyweight style, and they created this the whole entity for the smaller guys to do very creative wrestling. Yeah, and still influential to this day.
Yeah. I think a
Yeah.
lot of wrestlers still wrestle as he did.
Yeah, and watch video and emulate it.
So we'll get into that today.
Okay.
All right.
You can edit this into like a 2 minute, right? Not to be
course.
too embarrassing.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. We probably
Also here,
very good. Dangan Jim. Very good.
yeah, it's Masato Tanaka. So you're wearing hardcore ECW
That's
t-shirts.
right.
So we're thinking about same thing today.
Yeah. Hardcore, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Okay, let's start.
Okay. Yeah, the camera can go off if you want. But
Very
okay.
good. Please make it into just a minute and a half and 2 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Right.
So, okay, today we can do a couple of questions or
Yeah.
like one or two, and then we could go into Dynamite Kid.
Oh yeah, because I thought I answered the question about the Fire Pro Wrestling game.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if you want to do more questions, we can, or we can just talk.
No, we already talked about it.
Okay. All right. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, we can answer a couple questions first, and also
the new book.
My new book, Sociology of Pro Wrestling.
It's like a collection of a lot of your
actually, it was already on the Kaminoge magazine for about a year and a half, like once a month that come out, like a long interview. Me and another person, Putti Kashima, the real famous comedian, we're doing the talking, like interviewing each other on, professional wrestling. Actually, wrestling fans with different generation and different background, still what we share is a wrestling experience, huh? We see things in like wrestling perspective. I mean, everyday thing. You know what I'm talking about. Like you meet people or do things, or you an employer or the work situation, or even the family situation, or situation with your girlfriend, or any relationship or social circumstances that you actually tend to see things through wrestling perspective.
Absolutely.
If that doesn't sound too crazy,
No, because wrestling is so open. I don't know a better word to say for it, but the idea that it's an open medium. I mean, throughout
and facing
years,
certain situation, what would be the babyface thing to do, and what would be the heel thing to do?
Yeah.
And what would be the short-sighted thing to think, or what would be the big picture of the things?
There's a lot of basic problem solving in the pro wrestling.
Yeah, and then I saw you and I both see, have seen things in wrestling world, and what was done and what was right and what was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I think without even realizing it, noticing it, that we kind of adopt our experience, wrestling experience, and what we saw into our real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, and that's what we're talking about. That seeing things, through wrestling value and perspective, and We talk about COVID, situation last year and a half, about Tokyo Olympic that everybody wanted to make it stop, but this, big money machine went ahead and, did the Tokyo Olympic amongst the pandemic, right? That was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
And also sexism and racism in the real world and what was done in wrestling, and we can see, what it was like presented, and a lot of things. Yeah. What's on the internet and what's in real life.
Mhm.
Yeah, that kind of things we've done. And I think you wanted to talk about, so that's my book. So
Mhm.
thank you very much.
Check it out.
And
Amazon Japan.
Amazon, yeah, it's on. It
That's
came
right.
out December 15th. You can buy it Amazon. Only available in Japanese. Sorry about that. But you and I are working on some different project towards next year. You and I will be author to get my book thing in English finally, and you and I will be doing that together.
Yeah,
And
we'll
also
keep
you,
everybody updated on that.
yeah, and also